One day, without warning, life stops. Not in a dramatic movie scene. Not with loud music or flashing lights. Sometimes it happens quietly, slowly, with signals most people never notice. The truth is, the human body often whispers before the end comes. It gives signs. Small changes. Subtle shifts. Clues that something deeper is happening. In this video, you will learn 5 signs that death may be approaching, and more importantly, what these signs should teach us about how to live. If you value wisdom like this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel Stoic Quiet Strength and turn on the notifications bell. Our philosophy is simple: power in silence. And while you listen, I want you to think deeply about something. If today were your last ordinary day, would you recognize it? Let's begin. Most people believe death arrives suddenly. A moment. A shock. A final event. But the body is not a machine that simply shuts off like a light switch. It is a living system, and like all living things, it often slows down in stages. Doctors, caregivers, and those who have watched loved ones pass often speak about these quiet patterns. Yet outside hospital walls, very few people talk about them. Not because they are mysterious, but because most people prefer not to think about death at all. Yet the ancient Stoics believed the opposite. The Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This was not meant to frighten us. It was meant to wake us up. When we remember that life is fragile, we begin to live with clarity. We stop wasting time on petty anger, meaningless distractions, and empty pride. So as we go through these 5 signs, remember something important. This knowledge is not about predicting death. It is about understanding life. And I want to hear from you as we go through this. In the comments, tell me honestly, what is one thing you would change about your life if you truly accepted that time is limited? Your answer might inspire someone else watching this video. Now, the first sign your body may give when life is nearing its final chapter is something many people misunderstand. The first sign is a deep and unusual change in sleep. We are not talking about being tired after a long day. Everyone gets tired. Everyone needs rest. But when the body begins preparing for the end of life, something different begins to happen. Sleep becomes heavier. Longer. Almost like the body is slowly withdrawing from the world. A person who once stayed awake for most of the day may begin sleeping for long hours, waking only briefly, speaking very little, then drifting back into rest again. This change is not laziness. It is the body conserving energy. Think about it. Every moment we are awake, the body is performing thousands of tasks. The heart pumps. The lungs breathe. The brain processes information. But as the body grows weaker, maintaining full activity becomes difficult. So nature does something wise. It begins to slow everything down. Energy is preserved. Awareness fades in and out. And sleep becomes a kind of gentle retreat from the noise of life. Many families notice this change and feel confused. They say things like, "Why is he sleeping so much?" or "She never used to be this tired." But what they are witnessing may simply be the body moving into a quieter phase of existence. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." When someone begins sleeping more and more, it reminds us of something uncomfortable. Most of our waking hours are not used wisely. We rush through days chasing things that do not matter. Status. Approval. arguments, worries about what others think. Yet when life begins slowing down, those things suddenly lose all importance. What remains? Love, peace, and a quiet desire to rest. This first sign should teach us something powerful. Do not wait until life forces you to slow down before you learn how to live calmly. Practice stillness now. Practice gratitude now. Because one day, the body will demand rest whether we are ready or not. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you allowed yourself true silence? No phone. No noise. No rushing. Just you and your thoughts. If it's been a while, write "silence" in the comments. It's a reminder to yourself that stillness is a kind of strength. And if this reflection is meaningful to you, take a moment to like the video. It helps more people discover these conversations about life, death, and Stoic wisdom. But sleep is only the beginning. The second sign that life may be nearing its final chapter is even more noticeable. The second sign is a steady and unusual decline in physical energy. Not the normal tiredness that disappears after a good night's sleep. This is different. It is a deep fatigue that lingers. Simple tasks become difficult. Standing for long periods feels exhausting. Even walking across a room may require effort. It is as if the body's internal battery is slowly losing its charge. Again, this is not weakness in the way society often thinks about weakness. It is simply the natural process of the body reaching the limits of its strength. Throughout life, the human body performs miracles. It heals wounds. It fights infections. It rebuilds muscle. It repairs organs every single day without us even noticing. But like any system that works tirelessly for decades, there comes a time when the repairs slow down. Energy fades. Movement becomes slower. And the body begins prioritizing only the most essential functions needed to keep life going. The Stoic teacher Epictetus once said something deeply powerful: "Do not seek for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and your life will go smoothly." In other words, peace comes from accepting the nature of reality. And the reality is this: everything that is born must eventually grow tired. Everything that rises must eventually fall. The tragedy is not that the body grows weaker. The tragedy is that many people spend their strongest years complaining about things that do not matter. They waste their health on anger. They waste their energy chasing validation. They waste their time trying to impress strangers who will forget them tomorrow. But when strength begins fading, clarity arrives. People suddenly realize that the simple ability to walk, breathe deeply, and watch the sunrise was always a gift. So here is something I want you to reflect on. Right now, as you are listening to this, your body is still working. Your heart is still beating. Your lungs are still breathing. Your legs can still carry you from one place to another. Never underestimate the miracle of ordinary strength. If you woke up today with the ability to move, think, and breathe freely, you are already richer than you realize. And if this message resonates with you, consider subscribing to Stoic Quiet Strength. Each video is designed to remind you of the quiet power that comes from wisdom. Because the next signs we are about to discuss become even more profound. And the third sign reveals something about the body that many people never expect. The third sign that the body may be approaching its final stage is something that often surprises families. The third sign is a gradual loss of appetite. Food, something that once brought pleasure, comfort, and energy, slowly becomes less important. At first, the change may seem small. A person may say they are not very hungry today. They may eat smaller portions. They may leave food on the plate. But as time goes on, the desire to eat can fade even more. Meals that were once enjoyed become difficult to finish. Sometimes even the smell of food becomes overwhelming. For families watching this happen, it can be deeply worrying. They often say things like, "You need to eat more," or "You have to keep your strength." Their concern comes from love. But what they may not realize is that the body itself is beginning to change its priorities. In the final stages of life, the body often no longer requires the same amount of energy as before. The digestive system begins slowing down. The body uses less fuel. The appetite fades naturally. It is not stubbornness. It is not a choice. It is simply the body's quiet way of preparing for rest. This moment often teaches one of the most profound lessons about life. For most of our years, we chase pleasure. We chase flavors, experiences, excitement. But when life begins winding down, none of those things matter the way they once did. What matters instead? Presence. Connection. Peace. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote something powerful: "Death is not an evil." What is it then? The one law mankind has that is free from all discrimination. In other words, death is the one experience every human being shares. Kings face it. Farmers face it. The wealthy and the poor face it alike. No status protects anyone from it. And yet most people live as if it will never come. They postpone forgiveness. They delay their dreams. They hold on to anger for years. But imagine realizing, near the end of life, that the things you once worried about never truly mattered. The argument you had 5 years ago. The insult someone gave you. The small mistakes you keep replaying in your mind. None of it carries weight anymore. That is why the Stoics constantly reminded themselves of death. Not to become sad, but to become wise. Let me ask you something. If tonight you discovered that your time in this world was shorter than you thought, who would you call? Who would you forgive? What dream would you finally begin? Take a moment and write one word in the comments that represents something you would prioritize more if you truly valued your time. Maybe it is family. Maybe it is peace. Maybe it is courage. Your word might remind someone else watching this video of what truly matters. And if these reflections are helping you see life differently, subscribe to Stoic Quiet Strength and turn on notifications so you never miss these quiet lessons about strength and clarity. Because the fourth sign reveals something even deeper about the human mind. The fourth sign that life may be approaching its final stage involves noticeable changes in awareness and mental clarity. This change can appear in different ways. Sometimes a person becomes more forgetful. They may struggle to recall certain names or details. Conversations may become shorter. Other times, they may drift between moments of clarity and moments of confusion. They may speak slowly, pause often, or lose track of what they were saying. For families, this can feel heartbreaking. The person they know seems slightly different. Slightly distant. But what many people do not realize is that the brain, like every other organ in the body, requires energy to function at full strength. When the body begins conserving energy, the brain may also begin slowing down. Focus fades. Attention drifts. The mind begins to turn inward rather than outward. Interestingly, some people experience moments of unexpected clarity during this stage. They suddenly say something deeply meaningful. They share memories. They offer wisdom that seems almost poetic. It is as if the mind, sensing its time is limited, begins speaking from a deeper place. This reminds us of something the Stoic teacher Epictetus often emphasized. He taught that we do not truly own our bodies, our possessions, or even our reputation. The only thing we truly possess is our character. Our ability to choose wisdom over foolishness. Our ability to remain calm in difficult moments. Our ability to treat others with dignity. Everything else can disappear without warning. Epictetus once said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." Think about that for a moment. Most people spend their entire lives trying to control things that are never truly in their power. They try to control how others see them. They try to control every outcome. They try to control the future. But the Stoics understood something that modern life often forgets. Control is an illusion. The only real power we have is how we respond to what happens. And when a person approaches the final stage of life, that truth becomes impossible to ignore. Status disappears. Possessions lose meaning. Even the sharpness of the mind may fade. But character remains. Kindness remains. The way you treated people remains. That is why the Stoics believed the greatest goal in life was not wealth or fame, but virtue. To become the kind of person whose presence brings calm rather than chaos. Whose words bring wisdom rather than noise. Let me ask you something again. When people think about you years from now, what will they remember most? Your achievements? Or your character? Write the word character in the comments if you believe that inner strength matters more than status. And if you're still listening this far into the video, it means you're someone who values deeper reflection. So take a second to like the video. It helps more thoughtful people find this kind of content. Because the fifth and final sign we are about to discuss is perhaps the most profound of all. And it reveals something about the human body that many people never notice until the very end. The fifth sign is a gradual withdrawal from the world. This is not the same as loneliness. It is not the same as sadness. It is something deeper. A person who once enjoyed constant activity may begin preferring quiet moments. Conversations become shorter. Social interaction becomes less important. They may sit silently for long periods, observing, thinking, almost as if their attention is shifting inward. Family members sometimes misunderstand this change. They may say, "Why are you so quiet?" Or, "You should talk more." But in many cases, this silence is not emptiness. It is reflection. It is the mind slowly detaching from the endless noise of everyday life. Imagine spending decades surrounded by responsibilities, expectations, conversations, and constant activity. Then slowly realizing that none of it will follow you beyond the final moment. The mind begins letting go. Arguments lose their importance. Competition loses its meaning. The constant urge to prove something to the world fades away. And what remains is something surprisingly peaceful. Stillness. The Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reflected deeply on this idea. He wrote, "Soon you will have forgotten everything, and soon everything will have forgotten you." At first, that sentence sounds harsh. But if you look deeper, it carries a strange kind of freedom. If the world will eventually forget our achievements, our mistakes, and even our struggles, then why spend so much time worrying about how we appear to others? Why sacrifice peace just to win arguments that will mean nothing in the end? When people begin withdrawing from the world near the end of life, it often reveals a truth most of us learn too late. The quiet life, the thoughtful life, the peaceful life, was always the most meaningful one. The Stoics understood this long ago. They believed that wisdom grows in silence. That strength does not always shout. And that true power often looks like calmness in a chaotic world. Which is why the philosophy of this channel is simple: power in silence. If that message resonates with you, write the word silence in the comments. It's a reminder that not every battle needs to be fought, and not every opinion deserves your energy. And if you have made it this far in the video, you are part of a rare group of people who are willing to reflect on life in a deeper way. So take a moment to subscribe to Stoic Quiet Strength and turn on notifications. Each video is designed to strengthen the mind the same way exercise strengthens the body. But now that we have talked about these 5 signs, something important needs to be said. Because this knowledge is not meant to make you afraid. It is meant to wake you up. Most people live as if time is unlimited. They postpone meaningful conversations. They delay kindness. They assume there will always be another opportunity to repair broken relationships. But life does not guarantee endless chances. Seneca once warned about this illusion when he wrote, "While we are postponing, life speeds by." Think about that. While people wait for the perfect moment, time continues moving. While people hesitate to start their dreams, years quietly disappear. While people hold on to anger, entire seasons of life are lost. That is why the Stoics practice something called memento mori. It simply means remembering that death is inevitable. Not as a dark obsession, but as a source of clarity. When you remember that life is temporary, something powerful happens. You begin speaking more honestly. You begin appreciating small moments. You begin letting go of things that never deserved your attention. The sunset looks more beautiful. Conversations feel more meaningful. Even ordinary days feel like gifts. Let me ask you a question I want you to answer honestly. If you knew your time was limited, what would you stop worrying about immediately? Write it in the comments. Maybe it's other people's opinions. Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's something you've been carrying for years. Your answer might help someone else watching realize they are not alone. And if this message has made you pause and think even for a moment, press the like button. It tells the algorithm that thoughtful conversations like this should reach more people. Because the final lesson hidden within these 5 signs is not really about death. It is about how to live. Most people wait for a crisis before they start appreciating their life. A health scare. A loss. A moment when everything suddenly feels fragile. But wisdom allows us to learn the lesson without needing the crisis. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself of this every morning when he wrote in his private journal. He told himself that life is short, unpredictable, and precious. Not to become anxious, but to become intentional. Intentional with time. Intentional with kindness. Intentional with the way each day is spent. Because the truth is simple. None of us knows when the final chapter will arrive. It may come decades from now. Or it may arrive much sooner than expected. But whenever that moment comes, one question will matter more than any other. Did you truly live? Not just exist. Not just chase distractions. But actually live. Did you show love when it mattered? Did you pursue the things that gave your life meaning? Did you become the kind of person whose presence made the world calmer rather than more chaotic? The Stoics believed that if you could answer yes to those questions, then death itself loses its power to frighten you. Because you already used your time well. And that is the true goal of wisdom. Not to escape death, but to live so fully and so honestly that when the moment arrives, you can meet it with peace. Take a deep breath for a moment. Right now, you are alive. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are filling with air. Your mind is capable of thought and reflection. That alone is a gift beyond measure. So do not waste it. Do not spend it arguing with strangers. Do not spend it worrying about things outside your control. Spend it becoming stronger in character. Spend it bringing calm to others. Spend it building a life that would make your future self proud. And if you believe that quiet strength matters more than loud success, subscribe to Stoic Quiet Strength and join a community of people who believe wisdom grows best in silence. Because in the end, the loudest people are rarely the strongest. True strength is quiet. True strength is thoughtful. True strength is the ability to remain calm while the world around you rushes in every direction. Power in silence.